Kagat Yulysoy and Hazal Kaya just rattled the Hollywood conversation in a way no one saw coming, and the spark came from a single sentence that slipped out on a glossy American talk show. Welcome to Turkish series stars. Before we get into the twists, hit subscribe and stick around, because this is one of those rare gossip avalanches that begins quietly and ends with everyone talking at once. One confession, one offhand bit of praise, and suddenly an old Turkish drama is at the center of a new global storm. When an Oscar-nominated heavyweight like Bradley Cooper casually mentions a Turkish series on air, the world leans in, and Turkey, predictably, erupts. The story is as strange as it is glamorous. Bradley Cooper, whose resume runs from chaotic comedy to heartbreaking romance to wartime intensity, found himself speaking about his mother, her viewing habits, and the show that apparently owns her heart. Adini Feriha Koydum, the series that stamped a generation and fused itself to the pop cultural memory, came roaring back to the front page. And right alongside it, the duo who gave that show its pulse found themselves newly scrutinized, newly debated, and newly crowned by a wave of praise that felt both nostalgic and startlingly current. Kagat Yulysoy. Hazal Kaya. The kind of attention that doesn't fade when the camera cuts. If you missed the moment, here's the setup. Cooper was laughing with the host, talking about how his mom unwinds at home, when he said the line that blew open the gates. "My mother is obsessed with Turkish series." The studio laughed. He grinned. And then he dropped the number everyone seized upon: she has gone through Adini Feriha Koydum 4 times. 4. The host whistled. The audience clapped. And then came the real jolt. Cooper relayed what his mother keeps insisting whenever the show comes up, that the leading man in that series might be the best she's ever watched on a screen. Without naming names, everyone knew who that meant. The internet did the rest. "He's talking about Kagat," one person tweeted. "No," he said, "the actor, it could be anyone," replied another. But deep down, nobody really doubted whose name was echoing under those lights. And then he added the line that poured fuel on the fire: the series was genuinely addictive, and the leading actress was very, very good. Clean, polite, careful words that could be read in a dozen ways, each more intriguing than the last. Was it just respectful praise? A nod from a cinephile to craft? Or was it the kind of measured compliment that hints at an eye on future collaborations? Depending on the angle, you could see it as simple admiration or as an open door. Either way, the minute those comments aired, social media went into overtime. Suddenly old clips resurfaced, edits multiplied, the nostalgia of a decade past gained a brutal new clarity, and every gossip page from Istanbul to Los Angeles dragged both names back into the center of the frame. What happened next was immediate and inevitable. Fans of Kagat Yulysoy rallied with the momentum of a stadium crowd. Threads exploded with the same chorus: "Hollywood is watching." It's not as if Kagat is a stranger to international attention. He crossed borders long ago. The Protector ushered him into a global conversation via streaming platforms, and the audience that discovered him through subtitled binges never left. He knows this. His team knows this. And after Cooper's TV moment, insiders whisper that Kagat reacted exactly the way you'd imagine: surprised, a little amused, but genuinely honored. To friends, he reportedly described it as a compliment you don't take for granted, the kind of nod that reminds you that your work is still echoing in rooms you've never walked into. The more tantalizing gossip came from people who claim to orbit the edge of that circle. Some say the timing is not coincidental. That praise doesn't accidentally tumble onto late-night television when meetings are in play and ideas are bouncing between continents. Compliments like that don't just happen, a confidant is rumored to have said, not when everyone knows the power of a casual line on a big stage. That last part is pure speculation, of course, but speculation is the currency of this world, and it's spent freely. Is there an international script being polished somewhere, a space reserved on a call sheet, a lookbook with a familiar face pinned to the corner? No one will say on the record. Everyone smiles. Everyone shrugs. Everyone refuses to confirm and thereby confirms everything. As the spotlight swung toward Hazal Kaya, a quieter, more intricate narrative took shape. A silent storm is brewing, one headline teased. What's going on with Hazal? And what's that mark on her forehead? The rumor mills do what they do, and a tiny photo detail became the latest riddle, an arrow pointing toward 100 theories. Yet when it comes to Hazal, this isn't her first dance. Her career has long been proof that she chooses her moments with care. She has nothing to prove and still, somehow, keeps proving it. Recent projects reignited talk about her range, and the old scenes that had once glued an audience to weeknight TV now play like a time capsule you can't turn off. The way she grounds emotion, keeps characters real, refuses to flinch, these are the things that travel across oceans even when nobody is planning it. Then came the airport sighting that fanned everything brighter. Hazal returned from Budapest, a scarf wrapped tight, an expression as open as ever. Cameras flashed. Microphones reached. And her answer arrived with that familiar, unbothered candor. She had flown to see friends, and yes, to spend time with the little ones. 3 simple words. The little ones, and the discourse detonated. Was she hinting at something? Was it code? Did Hollywood factor into a children's visit? In the comment threads, you could almost hear the laughter. Some fans waved it off as exactly what it sounded like. She visited friends and doted on their kids, as she often does, end of story. Others spun it into elaborate outcomes where a family trip and a professional opportunity overlapped in the shade of the Danube. This is gossip, after all. It never asks for evidence. It asks for a heartbeat and a rumor and supplies the rest. Still, the Budapest detour held a kind of subtle significance. If nothing else, it reminded everyone that Hazal's compass points toward real life first. She keeps things simple when she can, speaks when she wants to, and spends her energy on people she trusts. That same mood colored her New Year's confession when reporters asked how she rang in the calendar switch. She didn't play coy. She didn't pretend at grandiosity. A small gathering at home, she said. Close friends, no spectacle. It snowed, which made it prettier. The picture was so ordinary it felt rebellious. In a world that thrives on sparkle, choosing quiet can be the boldest move available. Cynics call that a smokescreen. Admirers call it a boundary. Either way, it fits. Let's not pretend the center of gravity here is anything but the past resurfacing with new weight. Adini Feriha Koydum has always had unusually long legs for a romantic drama. It carried a surging rhythm, a street-level sincerity, and 2 performances that matured right in front of the audience's eyes. The chemistry wasn't manufactured, it seemed to happen in real time, in the air between them, in the small glances that no script can dictate. That's what keeps people coming back. That's what sends a Hollywood mother through 4 full rewatches. It isn't just the comfort of familiar beats. It's the relationship the show builds with the person on the couch, the uncanny feeling that these characters remember you as much as you remember them. Years pass, platforms shift, algorithms evolve, and still certain scenes feel alive when you press play. And so here we are, balancing on that fine wire between nostalgia and what comes next. Are Turkish dramas sitting on Hollywood's dashboard now, pinned like a note you mean to act on? The last few years have made the question feel less hypothetical. Streaming platforms dragged language barriers into the past. Subtitles stopped being a hurdle and became a habit. What used to be foreign is now a curated tab. In that landscape, names like Kagat Yulysoy and Hazal Kaya stopped belonging exclusively to Turkey and began belonging to anyone with a broadband connection and a recommendation from a friend. Cooper's anecdote might be just that, an anecdote. Or it might be the tip of an iceberg whose size we only guess. If his mother is looping episodes late at night, who else in that town is following suit in between script meetings and casting sessions? Meanwhile, the reaction on the ground in Istanbul hasn't mellowed. Commentators stuck to their lanes, but the undercurrent remained the same. If a Hollywood A-lister is speaking the language of Turkish TV on camera, then the door isn't ajar anymore. It's open. For Kagat, the Whisper Network keeps returning to the same points. He has nothing to prove and everything to gain from a role that respects where he's been and tests where he can go. He's older now, sharper, unafraid to carry a show or vanish into a part, and his instincts will likely push toward material that surprises. For Hazal, the path looks equally intriguing. She's never chased loudness, she's chased truth. And when you pair truth with global attention, the options multiply without warning. A limited series? A crossover film? A director with a penchant for intimate storytelling? The pieces are on the table even if no one is ready to say which ones will move. Of course, no swirl of admiration is complete without a little doubt thrown in for texture. Was Cooper simply humoring a story about his mom? Was the best in the world line a sweet exaggeration, a family anecdote milked for a laugh? With the actor's comment, was he being diplomatic, ticking the polite box without giving too much away? That's one reading. Another insists that public sentences, especially in Hollywood, live multiple lives, a message to viewers, a message to industry, and a message to the people mentioned. If that's the case, then both Kagat and Hazal just received a polite knock on the door that says, in effect, we see you. The only real question is what anyone plans to do with that knowledge. Back on the fan side, the drumbeat refuses to fade. Threads ask the same trio of questions on loop. Is he on Hollywood's radar or already in the room? Is she measuring a leap or guarding a secret? If Adini Feriha Koydum were reimagined for a fresh audience, would lightning strike twice, or is its magic bound to the time and place in which it bloomed? No one has answers that satisfy everyone. What people do have is attention, and attention is the rarest currency. That's why the old scenes keep resurfacing. That's why new clips get cut with black and white filters and swelling songs. That's why airport videos become clues, and New Year's snow becomes a motif. In the middle of all this noise, the thing that matters remains deceptively simple. A Hollywood star told the world that his mother can't stop watching a Turkish show, and in doing so, he reminded us how porous these borders have become. The distance between a living room in Los Angeles and a set in Istanbul has shrunk to the thickness of a screen. You press play, you fall in, and you start to care. That care doesn't ask for permission before it takes root. It just happens. Which is why this story, however breathless it sounds today, isn't a novelty. It's a signpost. It points to the direction audiences have already chosen, with or without official handshakes. So let's ask the questions that keep the engine running. Do Bradley Cooper's words simply reflect a mother's affection for a good story? Or do they hint at a broader curiosity about Turkish talent that's blooming in rooms we can't see? Is Kagat Yulysoy's measured quiet a strategy to let the work speak, or the calm before a new announcement? Are Hazal Kaya's mentions of the little ones a sweet, ordinary truth, or the tiniest breadcrumb in a trail toward a different horizon? Would a remake of that beloved show rekindle the same fire, or would it risk melting what made the original timeless? Tell us what you think. Share the theory that won't leave you alone. And if you want the whispers that never make it to the red carpet, stay close. Like this video, subscribe to Turkish Series Stars, and turn on notifications, because whatever is being discussed in private today is bound to splash into public tomorrow. This isn't the end of the story. It's the start of a louder chapter. The door between Hollywood and Istanbul has been open for a while. Now, somebody's standing in it, holding it wide, waiting to see who walks through. Until next time, we'll be right here, listening for the next confession, ready to bring you everything that's said in the shadows and everything that slips into the spotlight. And when the next wave hits, as it always does, you'll hear it here first.